Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Mega Man here, and I'm back for the Maxi Toys, and welcome back to more Let's Play of Sonic the Hedgehog CD for the second Mega CD, as well as the the North American version actually translated to Sega CD, and the re-release version on Xbox Live Arcade, PlayStation Network, and PC Steam version. So yeah, last time that we actually did tackle through 3 zones actually in the last episode as through Sonic's story, which consist of the Tidal Tempest Zone as well as Quartz Quadrant, and we managed to get all these 7 time stones, which allows me to go and access to the good future versions in every single Act 3s as far as at this point in time. And also we managed to tackle through one of my least favorite stages in the game, known as Wacky Workbench. Today for this episode, we're about to continue on and eventually trying to beat Sonic's story, and afterwards, I'm more concerned the fact that I'm actually just about to tackle through both Sonic and Tails' playthrough on Sonic CD, kind of think about it. Because I feel like I was going to be trying to do that, because why not? So, anyways, today for this episode, we're about to, as I mentioned earlier, we're about to finish up with Sonic's campaign on, Sonic CD. It's the fact that we actually go and jump into one of my favorite zones in the entire game, known as Stardust Speedway. Think of Starlight Zone, but only more starry and speedy looking. So the reason why I really love this stage so much is the fact that not so much the level theme is actually very unique and interesting, because it's more likely, it kind of reminds me like I was watching a Fantasia concert or something like that. But even then though, it does have a lot of trumpets everywhere, as well as the rap music. Oh man, the Japanese and European soundtrack is definitely by far is the most catchiest theme I've ever heard. And during the Sonic game nonetheless. It always kind of reminds me like I was listening to the upcoming Sonic Mania music soundtrack, which is currently at the moment, which was Stadiopolis Zone Act 1. But except the fact that, excuse me, that, but even then, it's more likely just a, rapid, musical vibe to it, as so much so for the town, so to speak. So, yeah, I really love this, stage. Even then, though, this particular level do seem to technically make a return in, Sonic Generations, but the likes of the Metal Sonic boss battle fights from Classic Sonic. But even then, that's all there is to say about this here, besides the fact that, and also, I really enjoyed the US version of the soundtrack of this particular stage as well. Probably, in my honest opinion, that between the soundtrack of one of these stages in the entire game, I think my favorites will have to be the Stardust Speedway, which was both the Japanese and European soundtrack and the USA version, because, well, it's pretty addictive and pretty enjoyable to listen to, at least as far as I'm concerned with that. So, wow, I must have beat both Act 1 and Act 2 all at the same time. Or in this case, let's just say in Act 1 I managed to beat it for under a minute. And then in this particular Act 2, I managed to actually beat this level within under a minute and 40 seconds. So here we go on to Act 3 of Stardust Speedway, which we're actually going to be, as you expected, we're going to be running into the next boss battle. So, but before we do this actually, I'm just going to grind myself some rings, as well as these little speed boost shoes, and oh, we actually have ourselves Metal Sonic standing right here. And also, Robotnik's going to do something at me. Oh wait, I know what this is going. This is basically not just the actual fight itself, it's more likely a boss race. And that was before when Sonic Rivals came around on the PlayStation Portable. And yeah, this particular racing sequence between Sonic and Metal Sonic sequence, it does make a return in Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episode 2, as far as the likes of Death Egg Mark 2. Spoiler alert. But anyway, no. So as far as this particular race, not the actual fight, is that you're gonna have to beat Metal Sonic all the way to the end of a level before you actually notice is that you're gonna have to dodge a lot of Metal Sonic's incoming attacks. Like, for instance, there's his dash attack, which if he starts to go like, flashy yellow, this means it's your chance to actually just dodge his attack. And also you need to be careful of is his invincibility ability, which that might be seems really harmless. Oh, no, I don't want to get hit by the... Oh, I won! How come that... Okay, let's see. There we go, finally. I can't believe how Metal Sonic did actually trick me. That if I was gonna get a really close call in the end, but the only trouble is though, especially when I was playing this when I was a kid, that part right there always gives me a ticked off. But even then, though, as far as memory's concerned, that's only because of how Metal Sonic's things like, I should probably just use the action replay codes in my microchip or something like that, and just one footstep ahead, and then he beat me for about 1 split second. So that's just really close, or even really unfair, I should say. But anyway, so after when you actually beat against with Metal Sonic, at least as far as the end is concerned, then you have to instantly just try to run away from that instant death laser, because if you get touched by the robotics laser, although it's okay if you get hit and if you're actually trying to start up the race, but if you do the actual race itself, you'll instantly die in the process if you actually get hit by this little giant instant KO laser. So that's how it usually goes, and we managed to rescue Amy in the process, or Princess Sally if you're playing this game on the Mega CD version. So here we are in the 7th and the final zone in Sonic CD, because unlike in Sonic 1, it does usually contain, let's just say 6 zones, not counting the final zone, because the final zone is basically the 4th act, or in this case, the final part of Scrap Brain Zone. But even then, though, that we actually add, it was in Sonic the Hedgehog 2 that it does contain 11 zones, but even then though, that does mean that Sky Chase Zone, Wing Fortress, and even Death X Zone all does technically count. Expected including 12 if you want to count for the iOS exclusive stage, which was the Hidden Palace Zone, which is usually the beta stage back during the original version, but I'm glad that it did manage to make its debut on the remastered version of Sonic 2. So anyways, here we had the, as I mentioned earlier, the final zone in Sonic the Hedgehog CD, and that was the form of Metallic Madness. So, think of Scrap Brain Zone, but except it's a lot more darker tone to it, because you can tell that, even though it's more likely a mismatch between either the wing, I don't know what I would call this, but even then, for my concern, it's more likely a mismatch between Metropolis Zone and Scrap Brain Zone. Well, most likely Scrap Brain Zone, because it does contain this little rotational platform right there you can actually just, interact with. And also, there's actually an emphasis on you're gonna have to figure out where you're supposed to go, and as well as these little flippy platforms that you have to actually cooperate and trying to deal with. And as far as I'm concerned with this little particular part is concerned, I think that's all I can say about this here. So, because basically that unlike the previous 2 Sonic the Hedgehog games, Sonic 1 and Sonic 2, that it does contain, like, Sonic 1 contains 6 zones, and Sonic 2 only contains, 11 zones, and also that the fact that Sonic CD only contains 7 zones, because, that's all I can say about that here. And what's funny about this is that every time when you actually start the level off, they always begins with their first letter. There's always begins with the exact same letter. Like, for instance, Plum Tree Panic is usually a P, Collision Chaos is usually a C, Tidal Tempest is usually a T, Quartz Quadrants is basically a Q word, Wacky Workbench is a W, and Stardust Speedway as from S, and finally we have ourselves Metallic Madness, which consists of M. So, it's pretty interesting kind of thing about it to actually just manage to realize is that these alphabetical usually start off with the first ever sentence of these little alphabetical words. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. So as far as the ending part is concerned, again, you don't have to worry about the time stone system and stuff like that. Oh my goodness, we actually transform into our mini formations of ourselves. Most likely Tiny Sonic, or Mini Sonic I should say. Well, that's actually kind of cute for little Sonic's googly eyes and stuff like that. But even then, I'm just trying to make it up. But anyway, so yeah, as far as I'm concerned with this particular part and notice what it's known for, that, again, as I mentioned earlier, I'm about to tackle for this game for between Sonic's first and then Tails for later, and then after Tails' playthrough on Sonic CD, granted though, that unfortunately though, that definitely haven't showcased Tails' movesets, because of what I've noticed, is that back in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, at least in the original version of Sonic 2 on the Mega Drive, is that he plays exactly like how it does in Sonic 1, minus where he doesn't have his flight abilities, not until when we actually get into Sonic CD 2011 release version, as well as Sonic 3 and Knuckles. So, yeah. I think out of all the acts we're going to be run into, I think that Metallic Madness Zone Act 2 is by far the longest zone, or its longest act in the game. It's probably because there's going to be a lot of navigation that's going to be going on. Like, there's going to be a lot of maze you're going to have to go through. And as a result of that, I managed to beat this stage for under 3 minutes. But even then, though, it's not that long to begin with, though. But for your first time playing this particular game, then you're gonna have to spend a long time to actually just cooperate trying to deal with this act. Alright, here we go. On to the final act in Metallic Madness, and also the final stage in the entire game, which was Metallic Madness Act 3. So, yeah, that's as far as I'm concerned with that. This is pretty tricky for the most part, especially, although it's not so bad in the beginning, because you can actually go for either between these two routes. You're going to be, in this case, it's going to take 2 routes to begin with. However, though, until when you get to the middle section, which is considerably in this particular point here, this gets pretty tricky, because this is very similar to how it does it for Scrap Brain Zone and stuff like that. That you're going to have to get used to with this little twisty little, twisted platforms that you're going to have to hop on into. That's the ultimate premise of these, this particular section that Shadows usually goes. So, unfortunately, though, there goes my 3rd extra life is gone. Although, luckily, though, you do have grinding extra lives back after when you get died from that particular point of the level. So at least you got that. Because unlike Sonic 1's Act 3 levels, is that you don't have checkpoints to begin with. So even then, though, and especially noticeable in Sonic 2's Act 2's, in these specific zones, the only exception, which was Metropolis Zone Act 3, does contain a checkpoint before you actually approach to the boss battle. So, and as we mentioned this earlier, that there's no point for me to actually go ahead and explore these types of situations whenever, like, you're trying to actually go find the robot generators, because now that we actually did manage to completely restore Metallic Madness as far as the good future is concerned. Okay, so for this particular section, we need to actually deal with this little bulb-type enemies that we usually saw these guys before since Stardust Speedway. But even then, I always saw only briefly these guys, just only once. And after when you deal with them, with just roughly 3 of them, then you immediately approach into the final boss in the game. The true final boss, I should say. Which was the Dr. Robotnik himself yet again, but this time he's actually got himself his different contraption, which I'm presuming is actually called Psycho Egg. According to what it says on this Sonic CD Wikipedia and stuff like that, for what I've researched on that, that's how this machine actually calls it. So, yeah, if you ever about to be fighting this particular boss battle, is that as you can see, this little laser light is about to be on its own. In this case, it did manage to show up. It's probably because if you ever play this game as one widescreen version, specifically if you ever play this on the HD re-release version of Sonic CD, then you should probably expect how this usually goes. So anyways, this is pretty tricky though. If you're actually trying to do a no-hit run, it's probably because there's way too easier moments when there was like you instantly gonna get hit by these things a lot. Funny story actually, whenever I managed to play this game on my own time in my iOS version of Sonic CD, whenever I managed to get all these time stones in the iOS version, conveniently enough though, that for some reason it instantly transformed me into a bad future version instead of like good future. But anyways, enjoy the ending to Sonic the Hedgehog CD, at least the good ending. And yes, unlike how it does it in Sonic Gems collection version, in that you don't get yourselves a staff credits, while in this particular version of Sonic CD, expecting the original version on Mega CD / Sega CD, you get yourselves a staff credits, but in the HD re-release version does have that as well. So even then though, it tells you about much like any other ports that the every single games has to offer, it showcased the remake version of the games themselves, and also they managed to showcase the people who actually made the original version of the game to begin with back in the day. So I'm not going to talk about the overall of the game yet, but even then though, I'll explain onto that as soon as we're actually trying to finish with the Tails' campaign version on Sonic CD. So anyway, so if you manage to get all the 7 time stones, expecting, and you can also, there's also multiple ways you can actually get yourselves the best ending in Sonic CD has to offer, specifically on Sonic's campaign only. While we actually get into Tails later, then we can actually probably expect it to see this one coming. So anyway, so yeah, you know in the opening cinematic of Sonic CD that the main theme song on this particular European and Japanese soundtrack was actually known as, You Can Do Anything, which unfortunately though, in the 2011 re-release version, it's only instrumental version rather than just putting on lyrics and stuff like that. I have no idea why they're actually trying to remove the lyrics and stuff like that, which I felt was a little bit distracting at points. And then the opening and the ending theme was actually Believe in Yourself, or in this case, Cosmic Eternity. So even then though, that unfortunately though, much like the opening theme, it's all instrumental, so there's no lyrics and stuff like that. So oh well. Better late than never, although couldn't be worse though if you're actually trying to know something. So anyway, so I guess there's not much else I can think of about Sonic's campaign. He plays exactly like how he does in Sonic 1 and Sonic 2. So even then, there's not much else I can talk through this point in time. But even then though, I'll explain more into the how you can actually do like there's actually multiple ways you can actually get yourselves the best ending on Sonic CD has to offer. Is that, well, first things first though, the method number 1 is by basically getting all 7 of these time stones and stuff like that. And finally, there's also another way you can actually do is by basically just manage to destroy all these robot generators in every single act except Act 3. So yeah, that's the only different methods you can actually get the good ending. So yeah, join me next time on Let's Play Sonic the Hedgehog CD, and as far as this is concerned, we're about to be doing a Tails playthrough on Sonic CD, so you too cool. Thank you. Message. So see you guys then.